Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you why we might be on the verge of a massive increase in the price of Bitcoin. Now, this video isn't going to be talking about the possibility of everyone using Bitcoin in the future and how that would potentially impact the price. Instead, this is just going to be simple supply and demand of Bitcoin currently that supports the thesis for a much higher Bitcoin price in the near future. And before we start the video, I just want to share I have two links down in the description. First one is for Coinbase. If you haven't signed up for Coinbase, this is a platform where you can buy and sell Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And if you sign up with my link, you can get up to $30 in free crypto just from completing some of the quizzes on their website and learning about different cryptocurrencies. The second link is for BlockFi, and this is a website that actually lets you earn interest on your crypto. I think the rate right now is over 6%, and I have some of my Bitcoin personally on BlockFi. And signing up with the link below, you also get some Bitcoin as a bonus when you sign up and make a deposit. If what I say in this video does in fact happen, it would be a good idea to do these two things now to have some Bitcoin to take advantage of a massive spike in the price of Bitcoin. So we're going to start off with this article. It is the blog from Harris Coverman. He runs a hedge fund. And we're going to be taking a look at a few different websites, so I'll put these all down in the description. And I think this blog post is a good starting point, and he makes some good points in this blog. Now, the main thesis for this massive move in Bitcoin is that we're now seeing a bunch of different institutions and trusts get into Bitcoin. And because Bitcoin is a limited supply already, with these massive institutions moving billions and billions of dollars into Bitcoin, there simply won't be enough supply of Bitcoin to account for all of the demand that wants to buy Bitcoin, and that is going to send the price rocketing higher. So the first thing mentioned here is Greyscale Bitcoin Trust, and this is one of the ETFs that allows you to buy Bitcoin. So for institutions and funds, this is mainly how they're going to be buying their Bitcoin through GBTC. And we can keep track of the amount of Bitcoin that are held in this trust by tracking the amount of shares over different time periods. So at the end of July, just a few months ago, there were 406 million shares of GBTC outstanding. As of November 13th, that number had grown to 531 million, an increase of 125 million shares, and that's equivalent to around 119,000 additional Bitcoins purchased during a brief period of time. And to put this into perspective, the free float is between 6 and 8 million coins. So from this, we can assume that the Greyscale Bitcoin Trust purchased between 1.5% and 2% of the free float during this brief period of time. And this is something huge to have one ETF that buys Bitcoin buying up to 2% of the entire supply of Bitcoin just in a matter of a few months. So if this buying pressure continues, it won't be long before there won't be any Bitcoin left, and that's going to cause a massive squeeze when we still have the demand coming in. Now, in addition to institutions, you also have public companies converting part of their balance sheet to Bitcoin. They see risks in holding cash, and because of that, they're converting part of their holdings to Bitcoin. So there's a company, Microstrategy, that added 38,250 Bitcoin. And if you account for that and the amount that the CEO holds, that's another 1% of the total supply of Bitcoin. And then you also have other companies doing this like Twitter. And we just saw that PayPal announced that they will now be using Bitcoin on their platform. Now, to back up the fact that the Greyscale Bitcoin Trust is the main buyer of all this Bitcoin, we can take a look at the price performance because Bitcoin trades on weekends, unlike stocks and other financial markets. So because of that, it's interesting to see for most of the past year where we've seen a strong run in Bitcoin, most of the pullbacks have been during weekends. So you see strong runs up during the week, and then during weekends, we see the price of Bitcoin fall back, then another strong run, and then again during the weekend, a pullback in Bitcoin prices. And the theory behind this is that during the weekend, Greyscale Bitcoin Trust isn't actively buying up Bitcoin. And so with that demand taken out on the weekend, the price falters and only to be bought back up again once Monday comes around. And now this is still continuing. This is a tweet from November 20th. Greyscale Bitcoin Trust issues 11 million more shares today. That amounts to roughly 10,600 Bitcoin. That's the biggest day of buying in a while and almost 20 basis points of the whole Bitcoin free float. And the way that the Bitcoin Trust is set up, there's actually a trade that you can take, sort of an arbitrage to lock in some very low risk gains. And the thought behind why so much money is going into the Greyscale Bitcoin Trust is because there's an arbitrage opportunity you can take advantage. Because when you buy Bitcoin through the trust, you have to pay a premium to the net asset value, the value of all the Bitcoins in the trust. And when you do this, you pay a premium to buy Bitcoin in the Bitcoin Trust, and then you have to hold this for 6 months. And then after that, you can get rid of the Bitcoin minus the premium that you're paying. So this sets up an opportunity for arbitrage where you can buy the Greyscale Bitcoin Trust while paying the premium, and then at the same time you would go short Bitcoin futures, and that allows you to profit whatever the spread is between those, as long as you are willing to wait 6 months for the lockup period to be able to get rid of the Bitcoin without, again, giving up the premium. And as of right now, the premium between the Greyscale Trust and the actual number of Bitcoin being held by the trust is around 18%. So this is potentially a risk-free 18% that you could make by buying the Bitcoin Trust, shorting Bitcoin futures, and then waiting 6 months through the lockup period. This is actually something I've been looking into. I'm going to look into it a little more, but it looks good, and if it all checks out, I'm going to put some money into this trade because 18% in 6 months is no joke. So I will let you guys know if I end up making that trade. But the point of this is that because this opportunity exists, all these institutions and funds and hedge funds know that this opportunity exists, and because of that, they're buying up massive amounts of Bitcoin to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. We can take a look at the assets under management of the Greyscale Bitcoin Trust, and you can just see how rapidly the assets under management have been increasing, where at the beginning of this year you had under 2 billion assets under management, and right now we're sitting at 9.6 billion. So almost a 5 times increase just this year in terms of dollars being put into the Bitcoin Trust. Now also, hedge funds are piling into Bitcoin. A Bitcoin ETP managed by a Swiss insurer is receiving inflows as much as 3 million a day, and this Bitcoin fund is overwhelmingly institutions rather than individuals. The next thing we can take a look at is the fact that Fidelity is launching a Bitcoin fund for wealthy investors. And the minimum investment for this is $100,000. So this is huge news when you have a massive brokerage like Fidelity that starts recommending Bitcoin to its clients, even if they take all of their high net worth clients and say, to diversify, it would be a good idea to allocate 1% or even 0.5% of your entire portfolio to Bitcoin. That's going to be massive amounts of money flowing into Bitcoin. And again, the supply of Bitcoin is limited. So, which is why when all this demand comes through, eventually we're going to get to a point where all the Bitcoin is gone and you still have all this demand for buying. So what would happen is the price is just going to drastically increase. Now, in terms of Bitcoin price right now, sitting at $18,281, down a little bit off the highs of around 19,000. If we take a look at the long-term chart, just under the top we hit back in 2017, 2018 of around 20,000. And if you're looking for a price prediction for Bitcoin, there are a lot of smarter people that would explain that better than me. But here's a chart I found showing that based on the order flows and the potential demand coming in for Bitcoin, it wouldn't be crazy to see a Bitcoin go to $100,000 per share. Now, obviously, all that being said, if Bitcoin does go up to $100,000, it's not going to go up in a straight line. There's going to be pullbacks, and we've recently seen a huge run up, so I would not be surprised at all if we do see another large pullback. There has been a lot of optimism about Bitcoin in the past few weeks because of the run up, and as someone that likes to be fearful when others are greedy, that makes me think that we might be seeing a pullback in the near future. But again, I think long term, this demand is not going anywhere, and this institutional demand, this billions and billions of dollars that are going to want to go into Bitcoin, is just going to drive the price up because again, the supply isn't there to meet all of this demand. And now in terms of what I've been doing, like I said, I do hold some Bitcoin, not a huge percentage of the portfolio by any means, but if we do really see this play out where Bitcoin goes to $100,000 or more, this could pay off. And that's why I think it is a good idea to hold some Bitcoin. And the good news is you can get some for free. If you use the link down below to sign up for Coinbase, they have a section called Coinbase Earn where you can learn about cryptocurrencies and get some for free just by completing some quizzes. And after that, you can convert those into Bitcoin, which is what I did when I first started out. Additionally, you can sign up for BlockFi where you get interest on your Bitcoin and you get a bonus for signing up. Now, I'm going to end this off by saying that the future is very unclear for Bitcoin. You have a bunch of people predicting that in the future, everyone's going to be using Bitcoin. It's going to be the universal currency. And then you have other people like Warren Buffett and Ray Dalio saying that Bitcoin is going to end very badly. So while I am expecting this run up in Bitcoin to happen, no one knows how long it'll last, and it is definitely a possibility that if we do see a huge increase, it could always come crashing back down. And so in terms of where Bitcoin is in 5 years or 10 years, I really have no opinion on that. I don't know nearly enough about Bitcoin to be able to make a prediction about that, but I think it's always something to keep in mind that cryptocurrency is a very risky and volatile investment, and there's nothing stopping it from going to zero. Just like any currency, if people lose faith in it, it would go down to zero very fast. So with that, I'd say don't put more into Bitcoin than you can afford to lose. This video isn't financial advice, so I'm not telling you to buy Bitcoin. I'm just presenting some evidence for why we could see a bull market in Bitcoin over the next coming months. So that's it for this video. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree with my analysis of Bitcoin and the thought that all of this demand is going to drive the price higher. If you found value out of this video, hit the like button to help YouTube push this video out to a larger audience. audience. If this is your first time here, welcome, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my new videos. So that's it for now, and I'll see you next time.